Hey, what's up, folks? James from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining me on another adventure. And today we're talking about everybody's favorite subject, knives. So a couple months back, Pete from Cedric and Ada, the Cedric and Ada YouTube channel, he started this knife tag called 5 Knives That Make Me Happy. And of course, he made his video, he tagged other channels, and then those other channels tagged other channels once they made their response. Yeah, and a lot of some pretty good known channels, responded, like Nick Shabazz, Advanced Knife Bro, and many others. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I wasn't tagged personally by anyone. I don't even think that Pete from Cedric and Ada would probably want to associate with me. I think I'm the kind of guy that, like, he rolls his eyes at, the stereotypical Texan with his hat and his cowboy boots and all that stuff. So I'm going to take a shot at making this video myself. Once again, I wasn't tagged by anyone. I kind of just invited myself to this party. But that's okay. That's all right.
Show me the meaning of being lonely. Is this the feeling I need to...
Okay, so let's get started. Now, keep in mind that there is no particular order to this list, okay? So it's just 5 general knives that make me happy. And knife number 1 is going to be my custom Green River Knives Beartooth. So, for those of you who don't know, Green River knives have been made in America since 1834. They have a very rich legacy. Sadly, there's not a lot of attention given to them by the modern day YouTube gear channel scene, whatever you want to call it. But I love Green River knives. And you know me, I love the old school style knives. This one's very old school. I mean, it looks like a little French trade knife, cartouche knife, Very simplistic, not a lot of fanciness to it, very plain Jane. But I like that. Now, normally it comes with like some very basic wooden handles, or there's like a kit that you can order on websites like Amazon with, so you can make your own handles and attach the pins and all that good stuff. This was actually sent by a viewer by the name of James Hyde. James, if you're watching, thank you so much, brother. I hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. And he sent me this one with these beautiful snakeskin micarta handles and blood red liners. I mean, look at that. And then, of course, he gave it a 90-degree spine for striking a ferro rod. And, yeah, really love this knife. Great little knife for, for cutting up veggies, meat, all that good stuff. You haven't seen it a lot on the channel, but it has made some notable appearances. For example, in our bullfrog catch and cook, this is the knife that I use to process those bullfrogs. Also, on our rattlesnake catch and cook, this one was the one that I used to process that snake. So, really love it. It's a very small blade, but, yeah, it's very small. But I really dig it. I think it's really beautiful, by the way. Once again, yeah, that snakeskin micarta is just gorgeous. And, yeah, I think we're overdue to get this thing back out on the field and process some game. Blade number 2, to no one's surprise, the Mora Consbull. I will forever champion this blade, because I think this thing is damn near absolutely perfect. It doesn't matter whether you're a rookie and you're looking for your first knife for the outdoors, or, you're a knife veteran who's been doing this for, 25, 30 years and you have 40 knives in your collection. For this blade, for the amount that you're paying, I mean, I think this thing is damn near unbeatable. So I have a review on this one, a couple years old, maybe like 4 years old when it first came out. And even though the testing and all that stuff still holds up, I do think the production is a little dated. It's a little wonky. So I did recently this year, I revisited this and I made a video called the top 5 reasons why the Mora Consbull is the best knife for your money. And check it out. I mean, I just love this thing. And I'm a sentimental person. And when I use something, whether it's a coat, a hat, a knife, it doesn't matter. The more I use it, the more adventures I go through it with it, the more it means a lot to me. This thing means a lot more to me than some custom $250 knives that I own, just because, I mean, I've had this for years. I mean, I've used it, cooking green chili stew up in the forests of Missouri when I went hammock camping, all the way to, I've gone to Arizona and done some primitive camping, made my first bow drill fire, carving some spoons and stuff with this blade. I mean, for what, $40, you're getting something that's damn near perfect, and I just love it. Like I said, I'm not going to gush too much about it because I think, long-time viewers are going to, you've heard it plenty of times from me. So no need to do that. But up here, I will place that top 5 reasons why the Mora Consbolt is the best knife for the money. Check it out. This is a very great knife, and I love it. Knife number 3, the Victorinox one-handed Trekker. So this knife, I mean, I've said it many times. This is my favorite, absolute favorite multi-tool. It's my favorite everyday carry blade. I know some people are, they're going to get angry because, they love Leatherman and all that stuff. But this is just my favorite knife when it comes to just everyday carry. You have a nice little half serrated, semi-serrated with the chisel grind blade right here. Opens very easily. And works well for, cutting boxes, cutting zip ties, opening packages, that kind of stuff. Stuff for the city, of course. I wouldn't be, processing a deer with this or anything like that. But, once again, for just doing errands in the city, this thing works great. I was a handyman for 4 years, so this thing was just invaluable to me back then. I'm up in ladders, 30 feet up and, off the ground, and, I needed to, access my blade one-handed while I'm holding onto the ladder or changing a light bulb. So this thing was just really awesome. I really love it, and it's not only great for the for everyday carry, but for the outdoors. This is a really good saw, really great for making notches whenever you're making, say, a figure 4 deadfall trap, bottle opener, flathead screwdriver, can opener, smaller flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, an awl, and then you have these little tweezers that are invaluable out in the desert because there are thorns everywhere out here. So these things are used very often. And then a small toothpick. It's the second oldest knife in my collection. So I've had this knife. I got this on my birthday in 2013 when I was just starting to get into all this. I wanted to be part of the whole EDC/preparedness/survival skills thing. And, back then I was broke. Back then I was just a bum, basically. Now, it's easier with this YouTube channel and I'm more financially stable that I can buy whatever I want or request the company to send me one for a review or something. Back then I didn't have that luxury. So this was actually a gift from a girl I was dating back then. She bought this for me for my birthday. She knew I had, I was looking at it and I was excited to get it. And I was saving my money to buy one, even though they're $50. But, I was just broke back then. So she bought this for me. And, it means a lot to me. And like I said, I've had it since 2013. I've carried it everywhere. And I really like it. And that girl that I was saying, we ended up dating for 6 years. She really helped me get the channel started. She was my first camera person before Cuervo Negro joined the channel. So, yeah, even though, we didn't work out and stuff, we're still friends and all that. But, yeah, this means a lot to me. Okay, so knife number 3 is my current boot knife, which is the Exodus Adventure Craft knife designed by Jacob Peterson from the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. I love this thing. Like I said, it's my current boot knife, so it's carried on me majority of the times. I don't always wear the same pair of boots, but for my main pair of boots, this thing rides on the side. I'll show it on B-roll because I don't want to take off my boot right now. I'm trying to hurry to get this video done. But love this blade. This thing is a little workhorse for how small and thin it is. It's 1/8 inch thick. I mean, it's a tough little bastard, I'll say that. And I really love it. Now, I wasn't excited at first about it, but Jacob asked me, if I would review one, and I said, sure. And I learned to really, really enjoy this blade. One, it complements my belt knife very well. I will admit, I tend to baby my belt knives a lot. I tend to want to keep them razor sharp for processing game and all that. So my boot knife tends to be the rough and tough guy, so I don't feel bad when I treat this thing badly. Now, keep in mind, this is the first incarnation of the Adventure Craft. I have the older version. So this was made by somebody else. Jacob designed it. He took his design to a company. I believe they were called Arkansas Arkansas Knife and Tool or something like that. And even though the fit and finish is pretty decent, it's not the best, but it's decent for a work knife, for a working knife, with the micarta scales and the red liners. It works great, but now he took his design to White River knives, and I mean, absolutely, they just raised the bar in terms of fit and finish and just the quality, the beauty, I mean, the aesthetics. And even they even raised the steel. This one's 1084, I believe. I think now it's like S35VN. I could be mistaken. But yeah, I love this blade, and Jake was such a gentleman. He actually sent me a brand new Exodus from White River Knives to give to a Patreon for our monthly Patreon giveaways. We have a giveaway every month if you're interested in checking that out, joining our Patreon. But I love this knife. Just like I said, it's a great tool. Now, why does it make me happy? Like I said, I'm a sentimental old fool. Let's wind the clocks back to the year of our Lord 2020. And what a mess of a year that was with the whole pandemic. We had travel restrictions, we had curfews, all this stuff. I couldn't go outdoors, and it was really stressful. And, of course, it was frightening. We were all confused. And I really couldn't go out much. And finally, after like about 2-3 months, they lifted the travel restrictions, and right away we took off to go fishing 3 hours away in Ruidoso, New Mexico. And I brought this knife to make a review on it. I had already been using it by then, but I needed to test it out, processing game. And that day was just so awesome. It was just my favorite summer day, probably one of my favorite summer memories ever. We went fishing. We could not keep the fish from hitting the lines. I mean, Jesus, we had to throw so many back. Like, it was just awesome. Then, of course, we wanted to eat. We were hungry. We wanted to cook them up. But there was a fire ban in New Mexico during that time, so we had to drive 3 hours back to Texas and make a fire over here and make food, finish the video. And we're cooking some veggie kebabs. We processed the bluegill and the trout, roast them over the flames, over the coals, and then, finish it off with a cold beer. I mean, and it was just what I needed. Me and my buddy Ernie was there too. We went fishing, we caught fish, we're roasting, cooking over a fire, we're drinking cold beers on a summer evening. I mean, it's just, what memories are made of, man. And it really meant a lot to me, and I really needed that after all the stress of 2020. So yeah, this knife always reminds me of that day. If you haven't checked out the review of this knife, I'll have the link up here. Once again, keep in mind, it's the same dimensions and everything for his newer Adventure Crafts, but they look a little bit different than this, okay? So if you check out that review, I'm very proud of it, but they do look a little bit different, which is good because they look better than this, to be honest, but really love this knife. Okay, folks, and my final knife for the knives that make me happy is, of course, you saw it coming, the Junkyard Fox Snake Eater knife, but the prototype version. So, for those of you who don't know, the Snake Eater is my personal knife design, and this is a prototype one. The finalized one looks a little bit different. After months of testing and all this stuff, we were able to bring it in down, hone it in, focus it. So this one's the final one. We just made a review on it just a couple of weeks ago if you want to check it out. And I love it. I love this thing. You can see the old Fox logo right there. Like I said, I love this thing. But when it comes to like I said, sentimentality and all that, I mean, this was my first one. This is the very first time I had a knife design. And I, opening that package and just feeling it in my hand, it was like a magical moment. Now, of course, I am by no means treading new water. It's not unheard of for a YouTube channel outdoor YouTube channel to have their own knife design made. Of course, I'm far from the first, I'm far from the last, but that doesn't diminish, this sense of accomplishment and pride and excitement you get when, you get something that you had sketched, you had some drawings and you had some ideas and, all of a sudden you have it in your hand and, you can't wait to take it outdoors and all that, So it means a lot to me, like I said, and I really love it. In terms of aesthetics, I do like this one better. I'm also very much a plain Jane kind of guy, so I like the green micarta with the red liners. Tribute to Boba Fett, who's my favorite, fictional hero ever, fictional character. And, just love this knife. Check out Woody Smith Knives if you're interested in purchasing one of his blades. He's very talented. or if you have an idea, if you have some kind of idea floating around in your head, you know, some knife design, shoot him a message. Really great guy. Like I said, I love this knife. You know, it's like, I'm not a dad, so I don't know how this feels, but I kind of like to think, you know, it's your firstborn son, you know, even though you're probably your second son's going to be the smarter one, it's still your firstborn kid, you know. So, yeah, I really love this thing, and you know, I've used it in many adventures for testing, and I'm going to keep using it for many adventures to come. Let me know in case you guys would be interested in, you know, if I talk to Woody for him to start making this design as well as the finalized one. I like this one. I like the you know, there's no guard on it. I like the more old world look to it as opposed to the more modernized look of this one, the final one. So let me know, because I really love this thing and it really makes me happy. All right, folks, so as you can tell, the moon is rising. It's getting pretty dark, so I kind of had to hurry this video along. You know, I couldn't, you know, take my sweet time and make retakes and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a tag video, so it's meant to be a little bit more off the cuff, not too staged, not too prepared, you know. So, you know, there's a fun in that too, so the video doesn't come off too stale. But I'm already going to start heading down and getting into my truck and all that stuff. So that's about the end of this video. But go ahead and comment down below, what's one knife that makes you really happy? And it doesn't have to be technicality like the steel it has or anything like that, but a good memory and why, you know, it provides you this fondness. Like I talked about, you know, the Exodus knife and that fishing trip, which is one of my favorite memories of all time, to be honest. So chime on down below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up as well. And I guess it's time for me to tag a video. Tag some YouTube channels. So I'm going to go ahead and tag Leo from Irish Zombie Nation. I'm going to tag Jonathan Heffron from Wingman 115. Dana Webb, okay, from Mountain Sport Airguns as well. So all three of you gentlemen, you guys are tagged if you would like to partake in this little adventure and talk about your top 5 favorite knives that make you happy. So like I said, guys, I'm heading on back down to my truck and I'm going on home. So see you guys next week, and go outside and get your boots dirty.